Hey, good morning and Merry Christmas, all of you Tannimals. It's I, Bryan Tann, the host of the Tanndemonium Sports Show. And before I get too deep into this, I've already said it, but I'll say it again from myself, from my co host Jackson Law, and from everyone at Vendetta Sports Media. I want to wish you a safe, happy, and Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy belated Hanukkah, and most importantly, going into 2021, it has been just a dumpster fire of a year. But with that being said, I hope your 2021 is safe, happy, healthy, prosperous, and way better than 2020. Although the pessimist in me does say that the Road Warrior, the first Mad Max movie, happened in 2021. So fingers crossed. Anyway, before I want to throw this out here real quick, I want to be able to get something out here for you guys because it's really weird to me not doing a show for 2 weeks. So I kind of want to talk about a couple of things that have happened in Pittsburgh sports over the last week. Well, not the last week, over the last few days. And I really didn't want to become the Pittsburgh sports talk guy with Vendetta Sports Media, but hey, you cover what you know. And that's one thing in 2021 I'm going to try to do, try to get more broad with things. But as it stands, this is what I do. One of the biggest, I don't even want to call it the biggest sports story in Pittsburgh because it's really not. The big sports story in Pittsburgh this season has been Ben Roethlisberger returning from injury. Because as it always happens in Pittsburgh, there's two sports seasons in Pittsburgh. There's Pittsburgh Steelers season and then the off season of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Although I can't necessarily say that because the Penguins are huge here as well. So as the Steelers season winds to a close, it's Penguin season. Pirate season shows up and it's like, man, okay, so this is Steelers off season. And you can't really blame us here in Pittsburgh. I mean, it's been torture to be a Pirates fan since 1992. It really has been. But one of the bright spots we had over the last few years was Josh Bell. Jay Bell, you want to talk about a guy who, just by the look of him, you could see he looked like he could hit a home run at any point in time when he came to bat. Big, strong, young, very positive guy. He really enjoyed being here in Pittsburgh. Well, not anymore. Now the baseball gods have smiled upon Josh Bell, and he's going to a contender. That's right. Josh Bell, our power hitting first baseman, was traded on Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas to the Washington Nationals for number 3 prospect Will Crow and number 6 prospect Eddie Yean. So that's their number 3 and number 6 pitching prospects, respectively, in their whole farm system. Now, in a lot of ways, I kind of want to trust Ben Cherington on this. Ben Cherington was the GM, the head guy, the head GM over there at the Boston Red Sox organization from 2011 to 2015. Now, Ben Cherington did make some smart moves while he was there in Boston. You know, they weren't necessarily destroying everything, but they were still a very, very relevant team, albeit an underperforming team in those 4 years that he was the GM. One of the biggest moves that I felt at the time living in New England and being, learning about Boston sports is that he unloaded almost $300 million in salary obligations in that organization when he was able to move Carl Crawford, Josh Beckett, and Adrian Gonzalez. That was a big deal because the thing is, for those of you who don't know, baseball don't have a salary cap. And all the money that you get when you sign a baseball contract, that's guaranteed cash. Once you sign, you're obligated to that money. Ask Mets fans the fact that they have been paying Bobby Bonilla for the last 30 years. Okay. So, and that's why, even when my son asked me, Dad, what sport do you want me to play? I said, boy, you better get good at baseball. They don't have a salary cap. That's guaranteed money. And when you're good, you could have one good contract and never have to work again. But still, though, getting rid of those 3 guys, that's huge. Beckett, Crawford, and Gonzalez, moving them out of Boston on those insanely ridiculous contracts was a great move. And when he left in 2015, he left the Red Sox with Xander Bogaerts, Mookie Betts, and Brock Holt, just to name a few. that left them such a strong core that has, helped them along. Of course, not all those guys are there in Boston anymore, but still, I believe Mookie Betts. Yeah, Mookie Betts was one of the heroes for the Dodgers. But still, he was developed, he was groomed in that Boston system. But as I said a few minutes ago, being a Pirates fan has been very, very difficult since, 92. Last time the Pirates were a real winner, other than the 89, 90, 91 seasons, they won it all in 1979, my birth year. We, our family, was sweeping through the Steel City. Everyone loved the Pirates, and rightly so. We had some guys on that team that they're legends to this day. Absolute legends. If you don't know the name Willie Stargell, I don't know what to do with you, to be quite honest. But since 92, the Pirates have just been mediocrity after mediocre season, losing season, horrible losing season, horrible losing season, mediocre. And I'm pretty sure that's been the trend. Some of the only big names that we've had since then, Brian Giles, not many people know who he is. Jason Kendall was the man for us. He really was. But, he wasn't. He was great for us, but, going to other teams, I believe he left the Pirates finally and went to the Toronto Blue Jays. Didn't really do a whole lot. Andrew McCutchen and Garrett Cole are the biggest names that we've had come out of Pittsburgh, and that's before Josh Bell. And even since Josh Bell, you look at Garrett Cole, the monster contract he signed last year with the New York Yankees. And then when Andrew McCutchen left, he's been quiet in San Francisco and in Philadelphia, but he's still a relevant player. Does Josh Bell leaving Pittsburgh surprise me? Absolutely not. He's a Scott Boras guy. Scott Boras still, he rules baseball as far as, a sports agent with an iron fist. It's not surprising. The Pirates are still, they're a small market team. They're not really able to pay those giant contracts. Thing is, though, if there were a winning culture here, you'd be able to keep these huge name guys a little bit longer. And you might even be able to talk them into staying, because you've got a winning culture. But we haven't had that in a long time. We haven't had a real solid winning season since 2015. But we were gone in the wild card, which makes it suck even more. So, Ben Cherington has a track record of being the unload salary and help develop players. Here's hoping that happens. This past season, things were starting to look okay, and then it was just same old with the Pirates. It was promising for like 5 minutes. We'll see. But Josh Bell being gone, hey, Washington Nationals fans, you're welcome. Merry Christmas, because you're getting a guy that he can tear the cover off the ball, and he'll give you effort. He will give you a lot of effort. We're going to miss him here. We're absolutely going to miss him here. The following broadcast is brought to you in association by XP Coffee Company. XP Coffee Company is the fresh brewed coffee made for gamers by gamers. Get amazing flavors like Choco Loco in 8, 12, or 16-ounce bags. Or level up and get Illusion, Isolation, Nightmare, or the Majestic Throne blends in light, medium, or dark roast in whole bean, coarse French press, drip, or fine espresso in 12-ounce, 16-ounce, or 2-pound bags. Wow! Shipping worldwide. If you're in the U.S., go to usa.xpcoffee.co. If you're in Europe or in the UK, go to www.xpcoffee.co. XP Coffee Company, for gamers, by gamers. Moving to a Pittsburgh Steelers talk, and I kind of want to throw this out there real quick because this has sort of been, and it's a holiday week when the hotbed topic is JuJu Smith-Schusters dancing on the opposing team's logos at midfield. Here's the thing. I did say during the Steelers-Bengals game, I did tweet out, quit focusing on dancing so much and get some production done on the field. I'm paraphrasing myself. But that's what I thought. Instead of doing the TikTok videos and dancing around and the chip and dip and all that crap, focus on the game on the field. If you're winning and you're producing, I don't care what you do before that first whistle blows. As long as you're not doing anything illegal, I don't care. I think comparing JuJu to Antonio Brown, as far as, and I've seen some people mention it, comparing him to Antonio Brown as far as being a distraction is ridiculous. JuJu Smith-Schuster does so many positive things when he's not on the field. He's a very likable young man. The hate generated toward JuJu Smith-Schuster, I think, is extremely hypocritical. It's extremely stupid. And it just goes to show how many haters there truly are out there as sports fans in sports media. No one wants to talk about the charity work that JuJu does, the money he donates, the time he donates. No one wants to talk about that. They just want to focus on him making TikTok videos, dancing on the logos on midfield. Now, if you want to criticize his play, that's fine. Absolutely. But in his defense, when you look at the catches that were being made this season by this amazing Steelers wide receiving crew, well, they seem to have the dropsies now, and nothing's getting done. First and foremost, you got to blame offensive coordinator Randy Fichtner and, in turn, Coach Mike Tomlin. Fichtner is just the worst. He should not have this job. You want to talk about it's not about what you know, but who you know and who you befriend? Randy Fichtner embodies that to a T. He would not have this job if it wasn't for Ben Roethlisberger loving this guy, because essentially Ben Roethlisberger has been able to run rush shot over this guy and do what the hell he wants. That's why Ben likes the guy. Let's just call it what it is, okay? Randy Fichtner's a terrible coach. His game plans suck. His play calling sucks. Mike Tomlin needs to take over. He needs to, honestly, look, a guy can have a bad year because last year the Steelers were snake bit. When you have Mason Rudolph and Duck Hodges, Duck Hodges was able to get some stuff done, but at the end of the day, he doesn't have the arm strength and he's not an NFL caliber quarterback. He's not. So you could at least give Fichtner a little bit of a pass. But this year, with Ben being back, the play calling has just increasingly gotten more and more terrible. And, it's tough now. On one hand, Ben is trying to throw perfect on every throw because his receivers are dropping passes left and right. But at the same token, there's times, though, when Ben misses, he misses terribly. Look at the Jacksonville game. How many times did he throw behind Deontay Johnson? How many times? But when the Steelers receiving core was, being considered the best in football, JuJu Smith-Schuster, when he would make catches, man, he was doing the Hines Ward thing. He was fighting for those extra yards, and he was a tough get down. Deontay Johnson goes down relatively quick. He's quick, he's fast, he knows what he's doing. But once you get a hold of him, he's going to the ground. James Washington is your deep threat, your big guy, your over-the-top guy. But they're able to get this guy down. JuJu was like having another tight end out there. He was hard to get to the ground. He fought and clawed for every single yard. And while he was producing like that, no one cared that he was dancing on logos. No one even thought about it. It wasn't even a story. While he was producing, it wasn't a big deal. When production went down, that's when it became a problem. And what I say is this. When you can produce, you do whatever you want. But when you're not producing, you need to stop with the antics. I don't care that he danced. I really don't. Even during this losing streak, this 3-game skid that the Steelers have had, if JuJu were still producing like he was earlier on in the season, I wouldn't care. That's not a distraction. And when you sit there and you say, oh, well, he's giving teams all kinds of ammo to blah, blah, blah. You know what? This is the NFL. All right. Get rid of that talk for a minute. Now, if you go into the press and you outright disrespect the team, or you trash talk a team, or you trash talk a particular player, yeah, I see you getting revved up and, you're going to play just a little bit harder. I get it. But these guys are professionals. All of these guys do their own little things, and they all like to do their own little bit of trash talk. I'm sorry. If I'm on a team, and I've played football, I played semi-pro ball before injuries ended that. If we're the home team and another team came on our field and they were acting a fool, our coach would just say, you know what? Get out there and make them pay for it on the field. You're already expected to play hard. Someone acting like a clown? Come on, man. If you need someone acting like a clown to motivate you to beat a team, then you probably shouldn't be playing football. You should be motivated to beat a team just because you're competitive as all hell. And that's all there is to it. Not to mention the fact that over these last 3 games, the Steelers undefeated 11-0. When you're the top team in the NFL, every team that you play is coming at you with everything they've got because they want to be the ones that knock you down. And that's what happened. Now this team is free falling like they always seem to do. And it just seems like it's fallen on JuJu. And I don't think that's fair. It's really not. Now, to his credit, he's a good kid. JuJu's a good kid. He's saying all the right things. He wants to stay here for another 4 years. Do I see that happening? No, I don't. JuJu, I'm sure he wants to be paid like a top wide receiver. He sees himself as such. And whether you think that his stats speak to that or not, the bottom line is that's what you're supposed to think. You're supposed to think of how great you are. And when you're having an off year or a rough patch, you're supposed to be thinking, well, that's just this time around. That's not indicative of what I can do. So do I see it happening? No. Unless he is willing to sign a team-friendly contract that is incentive-based, I don't see it happening. I get irritated when I see people say, you got to sign Bud Dupree. No, you don't. No, you don't. Bud Dupree has had 2 good years. 2 good years. Last year when it was a contract year, and this year it was a contract year. And before TJ Watt was on the other side of the ball with him, Bud Dupree was over pursuing plays, running past ball carriers, missing sacks because he's running past the quarterback, not really being there when it counted. He just wasn't. You need to re-sign TJ Watt. You need to lock up TJ Watt for the next 5 years. I mean, if you can do it, I would lock him up in a 7-year contract. Lock this guy up because TJ Watt is a beast. Make sure you have TJ locked up. Make sure that you're going to have some money behind to keep Minka locked up. Make sure you've got some money to make sure that you've got Devin Bush locked up. Okay? That's what you need to do. Then you need to retool this offensive line because, I'm sorry, Al Villanueva, not getting it done. All right? Chooch, not getting it done. This offensive line, period, is not getting it done. When you don't have a running game, you're not getting it done. You need to build up an offensive line with young, solid guys with at least one veteran who is still getting the job done. Maybe that's Marquise Pouncey. But you need to shore up the offensive line, and you have to get Ben Roethlisberger's heir apparent. Get that successor in here, whether through the draft or whether through free agency. And I've been saying, get Dwayne Haskins. You know what? Get Sam Darnold in here. All right? Yeah, so what? The Jets won a game. Big deal. They could still potentially pick up Trevor Lawrence or any of the other multitude of amazing young quarterbacks coming into this draft. So you know what? See if you can get Sam Darnold in here and groom him to take over for Ben. That's what you need to do. Don't worry about Bud Dupree. And I'm sorry, don't worry about JuJu Smith-Schuster because JuJu is going to want to get paid, just like Bud Dupree want to get paid. You can't afford to do that. You just can't. Ben Roethlisberger's contract is going to make that next to impossible to do. He's due another $45 million this upcoming year. That's quite a few players that you could possibly pick up. No, you need to get his heir apparent, like I just said. You need to rebuild your offensive line. You need to pay TJ Watt. You need to make sure Devin Bush is going to be taken care of as well. You got to keep TJ and Devin Bush together for the next 5-6 years. That's what you need to do. If you can do those things, you're going to make this rebuild process a lot easier. At least if you shore up the offensive line, you can have Mason Rudolph back there if you have to. And he can at least be a game manager. Because any quarterback that has the good, 3 to 5 seconds, or even if you can get 6 or 7 seconds to throw the ball, that quarterback can look like a Brett Favre. That quarterback can look like a Tom Brady. Look at Trent Dilfer when he was with the Baltimore Ravens. All right, a little bit longer than I wanted to go, but I'm going to go enjoy my holiday. So once again, I want to wish you guys a very, very Merry Christmas if you celebrate it, or Happy Kwanzaa tomorrow, belated Hanukkah, and have a Happy New Year. Make sure, please, if you like the content that you see with Vendetta Sports Media, go to our Patreon, patreon.com/Vendetta Sports Media. We have 4 amazing tiers if you just want to help out your favorite Renegade Sports Media network. Because, going into 2021, man, we got some big things coming, and we could really use your help to make sure that our programming is the best that it could possibly be to keep you entertained with our sports coverage, our gaming coverage, and our fantasy sports coverage especially. So, that being said, I'm Bryan Tann of the Tanndemonium Sports Show. Have a great, safe, happy holiday.